So one final little piece about input that I wanted to discuss is the fact that because of the speed of the update, it happens 30 times per second. If you type a key on the keyboard or hit a button on the mouse or hit a button on the Xbox 360 controller, the odds of you only consuming up one of those updates while it's pressed are very, very slim. We just don't hit the buttons that fast and release them. So what could happen is you might end up with, say, a double click by accident or something like that. So how do we handle that? Well, think about what this logically means. Typically speaking, we only care when we get a new button press or a new click. How do we detect whether it's a new one? Well, if it's currently pressed now, and during the last update it wasn't pressed, that means it's a new one. So how do we do that? Well, the trick is just to keep track of the previous state. If the previous state it was up, and in this state it is down, then it's a new click. So let's say, for example, let's try this for the keyboard. So up here, let's create a second keyboard state. So keyboard state, KB. I'm going to call this previous KB, prev KB. And this allows me to store the previous one. Now, right now, that one doesn't have a value. So we're going to have to give it a value. So what I'm going to do is just to set that up in the initialize, because this is really the point of the initialize, is get stuff set up. So I'm going to go previous KB is equal to keyboard.getState. So I've now set it up as a previous version. So now down in our code, instead of a simple if statement that just says something like this, if kb.isKeyDown, let's say we're checking to see whether a new space is clicked, keys.space. Okay. Now normally this is just fine, but of course this is going to allow us to get double clicks. What we want to do is check to see whether it's down right now, but previously it was up. So to do this, we want to do an AND statement that says AND previous KB dot is key up. If that's true, so again we got to set a keys.space. This essentially saying is if previously it was up, but currently it is down, this is a new click. So this is a new space click. So then we can do whatever it is we need to do it. But the trick is we need to maintain that previous keyboard status. So how do we actually do that? Well, essentially like this. Every time it comes into the update, what we need is that we're going to get the new keyboard state, but the previous keyboard state is what it was before. So we could do this in one of two ways. We could either set the previous keyboard state right here before we do this, or what I like to do is at the end of the update, so down here, for example, when we're all done the rest of our code, so this should be the last thing that occurs in the update, what we would do is we would set previous keyboard equal to keyboard, because we're all done with the current keyboard. So that means the next time we come in, what was the current keyboard is now the previous keyboard. So that's what we're doing. We're setting up the previous keyboard as what it is right now. But since we're all done with it, it's really old data. So now we set it in the previous keyboard. So this is how we handle double clicks. That's it for user input.